The Temple of Eternal Light stood at the center of the farming village of Millbrook, its white stones glowing softly under the twin moons. Inside, 17-year-old Maya Chen knelt before the ancient altar while the village elders gathered around her. This was supposed to be the happiest night of her life. Every young person in the village received a blessing from the goddess Lumina when they came of age. The blessing would determine their path in life, their special gift that would help them serve their community. Maya's mother stood in the back of the temple, her hands pressed together in prayer. Her father had died 3 years ago in a farming accident, and since then, Maya had become the sole support for her mother. She hoped for a simple blessing, perhaps the gift of growing crops, or healing small wounds, or speaking with animals. Something useful for village life. The head elder, a woman named Sister Agnes with silver hair and kind eyes, raised her hands toward the ceiling. The candles flickered. A gentle wind moved through the temple even though all the windows were closed. The statue of the goddess Lumina began to glow with golden light. Maya closed her eyes and waited. The light grew brighter and brighter. She could see it even through her closed eyelids. The other villagers gasped. Some of them stepped backward. The wind became stronger, whipping Maya's long black hair around her face. Something was wrong. The blessing ceremony usually took only a few seconds. A soft touch of light, a warm feeling in the chest, and it was done. But this was different. The light was not soft. It was blinding. The warm feeling was not in Maya's chest. It was everywhere, burning through every part of her body. She opened her mouth to scream, but no sound came out. The light exploded. When Maya woke up, she was lying on the cold stone floor of the temple. The candles had all gone out. The statue of the goddess was cracked down the middle. Sister Agnes was kneeling beside her, her old face pale with shock. Maya sat up slowly. Her body felt strange, different. She looked down at her hands and gasped. Her skin was glowing faintly, like moonlight was trapped beneath the surface. And there was something else. She could feel things she had never felt before. The heartbeat of every person in the temple, the life force of the grass growing outside, the distant pulse of stars millions of miles away. Sister Agnes helped her stand. The old woman's hands were shaking. "What happened?" Maya asked. Her voice sounded different too. Deeper, more powerful. Sister Agnes did not answer immediately. She looked at the cracked statue, at the burned marks on the floor, at the other villagers who were huddled against the walls in fear. Then she looked back at Maya. "The goddess made a mistake," Sister Agnes whispered. Or perhaps it was not a mistake at all. Perhaps it was something else entirely. "What do you mean?" Maya asked. "The blessing you received," Sister Agnes said slowly, "was not meant for a human. It was meant for a celestial being. You have been given the power of a minor goddess." Maya stared at her. That was impossible. Humans could not hold the power of gods. Their bodies would burn from the inside out. Everyone knew this. But Maya was not burning. She was standing there, glowing softly, feeling more alive than she had ever felt in her entire life. In the days that followed, Maya learned exactly what her blessing meant. She could move objects with her mind. She could heal wounds with a touch. She could run faster than the wind and jump higher than the tallest tree. Fire could not burn her. Cold could not freeze her. She was, in every way that mattered, no longer entirely human. The villagers were afraid of her. They stopped talking when she walked by. Children who used to play with her now hid behind their mothers. Even her own mother looked at her differently, with a mixture of love and fear that broke Maya's heart. 3 weeks after the blessing, a stranger came to Millbrook. He arrived in a ship that fell from the sky. Not a wooden ship like the ones that sailed on the river, but a metal ship that floated on nothing at all. The villagers gathered at the edge of town to watch as the ship landed in the wheat field, crushing the crops beneath its massive weight. A door opened in the side of the ship. A man stepped out. He was tall and thin, with gray skin and eyes that had no pupils. He wore a uniform that Maya had never seen before, black and silver with strange symbols on the shoulders. He walked toward the villagers with long, confident steps. "I am looking for the girl," he said. His voice was strange, like two voices speaking at once, the one who received the forbidden blessing. The villagers looked at each other. Some of them looked at Maya. The stranger's eyes followed their glances. He smiled. It was not a friendly smile. "You," he said, pointing at Maya. "You will come with me." Maya stepped forward. She was not afraid. She could feel the power flowing through her veins, ready to be used. "Who are you?" she demanded. "What do you want with me?" The stranger bowed slightly. "My name is Commander Zeth. I represent the Galactic Council of Civilizations. Your little planet has been under observation for some time. Usually, we do not interfere with primitive worlds. But what happened to you is a matter of galactic importance. I do not understand, Maya said. Of course you do not, Commander Zeth replied. You do not even know that your planet is one of thousands in a vast galaxy. You do not know that there are millions of intelligent species, each with their own gifts and powers. And you certainly do not know that the blessing you received has attracted the attention of beings far more powerful than you can imagine. Maya's mother pushed through the crowd. You cannot take my daughter, she cried. She has done nothing wrong. Commander Zeth looked at her with something that might have been pity. I am not taking her because she has done something wrong, he said. I am taking her because if she stays here, your entire planet will be destroyed. The words hung in the air like a death sentence. Destroyed, Maya repeated. Why? Because of what you are, Commander Zeth said. Because of what you might become. There are forces in this galaxy that fear your kind. There are others that would use you as a weapon. And there are some that simply want to study you until there is nothing left to study. The only safe place for you is Nexus Prime. What is Nexus Prime? Maya asked. Commander Zeth smiled again. This time, it was almost a real smile. Nexus Prime is the most famous academy in the galaxy. It is where beings of great power learn to control their gifts. It is also the most dangerous place you will ever set foot. Maya looked at her mother. Tears were streaming down her mother's face. Maya felt her heart breaking into 1,000 pieces. She had always dreamed of adventure, of seeing the world beyond Millbrook, but not like this. Never like this. If I go, Maya said slowly, will my village be safe? Will my mother be safe? Commander Zeth nodded. The Council will place a protection over this world. No one will be able to find it or harm it. Maya turned to her mother. She took her mother's hands in her own. The glow from her skin made her mother's tears shine like diamonds. I have to go, Maya said. I have to protect you. Her mother sobbed and pulled her into a tight hug. I know, her mother whispered. I have always known you were meant for something greater than this small village. I just did not think it would happen so soon. They held each other for a long moment. Then Maya stepped back and turned to face Commander Zeth. I am ready, she said. The inside of the ship was like nothing Maya had ever seen. The walls were made of smooth metal that glowed with soft blue light. Strange machines hummed and beeped in every corner. There were no windows, but somehow Maya could see the stars outside, millions of tiny points of light scattered across an endless black canvas. She sat in a chair that molded itself to her body. Commander Zeth sat across from her, his strange eyes studying her face. You should know what you are getting into, he said. Nexus Prime is not a school in the way you understand schools. It is a training ground for the most powerful beings in the galaxy. The students there have abilities that would seem like magic to your primitive people. Some of them can destroy entire planets with a thought. Others can travel through time or reshape reality itself. Maya swallowed hard. And you want me to study with them? I do not want anything, Commander Zeth said. The Council has decided. Your blessing, whatever it truly is, has made you one of the most potentially powerful beings in the galaxy. But potential is not the same as ability. Without training, you are a danger to yourself and everyone around you. With training, you might become something extraordinary, or you might die, he added casually. Many students at Nexus Prime do not survive their first year. Maya felt a cold chill run down her spine. What kills them? Everything, Commander Zeth replied. The training itself is deadly. The other students see newcomers as threats or prey. The teachers care more about results than safety. And the challenges that the Academy creates to test its students would make your worst nightmares seem pleasant. Then why would anyone go there? Maya asked. Because the alternative is worse, Commander Zeth said. Because beings of great power who do not learn to control themselves always destroy themselves, eventually. And because those who graduate from Nexus Prime become legends. The journey to Nexus Prime took 3 days by human reckoning. During that time, Commander Zeth taught Maya the basics of galactic civilization. He explained that there were more than 500 known intelligent species in the galaxy. Some were ancient beyond imagining, with civilizations that had risen and fallen before Earth's sun had even begun to burn. Others were young and aggressive, spreading across the stars like fire across dry grass. He told her about the Galactic Council, a governing body made up of representatives from the 100 most powerful civilizations. The Council kept the peace, more or less, It prevented wars between species and dealt with threats that no single civilization could handle alone. Nexus Prime was one of the Council's most important projects. And my blessing? Maya asked on the second day. What do you know about it? Commander Zeth was silent for a moment. We know very little, he admitted. Your world has been observed for only a few centuries. The goddess you call Lumina is actually an ancient being of unknown origin who has been living on your planet for millions of years. She grants blessings to your people, small gifts of power that help them in their daily lives. But what she gave you was not a small gift, Commander Zeth continued. What she gave you was a piece of her own power. This has never happened before. We do not know why she did it, or what it means. Some in the Council believe it was an accident, others believe it was deliberate. A few believe that something else entirely is happening. Something beyond our understanding. What do you believe? Maya asked. Commander Zeth looked at her with those strange, pupilless eyes. I believe that you are either the greatest hope or the greatest danger this galaxy has seen in 1,000 years, and I believe that Nexus Prime will reveal which one you are. On the third day, they arrived. Maya saw Nexus Prime through the walls of the ship long before they landed. It was not a planet, it was a structure, an impossible construct floating in the emptiness between stars. It was shaped like a great sphere, hundreds of miles across, covered in towers and domes and buildings of every imaginable design. Lights of every color shone from its surface. Ships of all sizes flew around it like insects around a flower. It was the most beautiful and terrifying thing Maya had ever seen. We are home, Commander Zeth said. Though I suspect home will have a very different meaning for you from now on. The ship landed on a platform near the top of the sphere. When the door opened, Maya stepped out into a world that made everything she had ever known seem like a child's drawing. The air was cool and clean, filled with strange scents that she could not identify. The gravity felt slightly different, lighter somehow, as if she might float away if she jumped too high. And everywhere she looked, there were beings. Some of them looked almost human. Others looked like nothing she could have imagined in her wildest dreams. She saw creatures made of living crystal, their bodies refracting light into rainbow patterns. She saw beings of pure shadow, their forms shifting and changing with every movement. She saw giants 30 feet tall and creatures no bigger than her hand. She saw things with too many eyes, things with no eyes at all, things that seemed to exist in more dimensions than her mind could process. They all stopped to stare at her as she walked past. Commander Zeth led her through winding corridors and across vast open spaces. He explained things as they went, but Maya could barely hear him. She was too overwhelmed by everything around her. Finally, they reached a great door made of black metal. Commander Zeth pressed his hand against it, and it opened silently. Beyond the door was an office. It was surprisingly simple compared to everything else Maya had seen. A desk, some chairs, shelves filled with objects she did not recognize. And behind the desk sat a woman. She looked human at first glance, but as Maya looked closer, she realized that the woman was anything but human. Her skin was too perfect, like polished marble. Her eyes were solid gold, with no whites or pupils. And she radiated power, a force that pressed against Maya like a physical weight. This is Headmistress Vera, Commander Zeth said. She has led Nexus Prime for the last 800 years. Headmistress Vera stood. She was tall. Taller than any human woman Maya had ever seen. She walked around the desk and stood before Maya, looking down at her with those golden eyes. So, Headmistress Vera said, her voice like music and thunder combined. You are the miracle girl. I do not know what I am, Maya replied honestly. Headmistress Vera smiled. A true smile, warm and genuine. That is the most honest answer I have heard from a new student in centuries. You do not know what you are. Neither do we, but we will find out together. She gestured toward one of the chairs. Sit, she said. We have much to discuss before your training begins. Maya sat. Commander Zeth bowed and left the room, closing the great door behind him. Headmistress Vera returned to her seat behind the desk. She folded her hands and looked at Maya with an expression that was both kind and calculating. You have been given a gift that should have killed you. Headmistress Vera began. The blessing of a goddess, poured into a fragile human body. By all rights, you should be dead. But you are not. Do you know why? Maya shook her head. Neither do we, Headmistress Vera admitted. But we have theories. Some believe that your human nature somehow adapted to the blessing, changing it as it changed you. Others believe that the goddess somehow prepared you beforehand. without your knowledge, and there are those who believe that you were never entirely human to begin with. Maya felt a cold knot form in her stomach. What do you mean? She asked. Headmistress Vera waved her hand. Just theories. We will discover the truth eventually. For now, what matters is that you are here, and you need to learn to control your power before it destroys you or those around you. She stood and walked to a window that looked out over the vast academy. You will be tested, she said. More than you can imagine. The students here come from the most powerful families and civilizations in the galaxy. Many of them have trained since birth. They will not welcome a primitive human who has suddenly gained power she does not understand. Maya stood and joined her at the window. She looked out at the towers and domes, at the students flying between buildings, at the ships coming and going. It was overwhelming and beautiful and terrifying all at once. I will not let them break me, Maya said quietly. Headmistress Vera looked at her. Those golden eyes seemed to pierce right through to Maya's soul. No, she said slowly. I do not believe you will. There is something in you, miracle girl, something that burns brighter than any blessing, something that even a goddess might envy. She placed a hand on Maya's shoulder. The touch was warm, almost hot, like standing too close to a fire. Welcome to Nexus Prime, Headmistress Vera said. Your new life begins now. Maya's room at Nexus Prime was nothing like the small wooden house she had grown up in. The walls were made of some kind of living material that changed color based on her mood. The bed adjusted itself to her body when she lay down. A window that was not really a window showed her any view she wanted, from the stars outside to the oceans of distant worlds. But none of these wonders could comfort her on that first night. She lay awake for hours, staring at the ceiling, thinking about her mother alone in Millbrook. She thought about the life she had left behind, the friends she would never see again, the simple joys of working in the fields under the warm sun. Sleep finally came just before dawn, and with it came dreams of fire and darkness. The next morning, a chime woke her. A voice spoke from nowhere and everywhere at once, telling her that she had 1 hour to prepare for her first day of classes. Maya found clothes waiting for her in a cabinet that had not been there the night before. The uniform was black and silver, like the one Commander Zeth had worn, but simpler. It fit perfectly, as if it had been made specifically for her. She walked through the corridors, following a map that appeared in her mind whenever she thought about where she needed to go. Other students passed her, most of them ignoring her completely. A few looked at her with curiosity. 1 or 2 looked at her with something darker. Her first class was called Fundamental Forces. It was held in a massive auditorium that seemed to stretch on forever, with students sitting on floating platforms at different levels. Maya found an empty platform near the bottom and sat down, her heart pounding in her chest. The teacher was a being of pure energy, a shifting mass of light and color that hurt to look at directly. Its voice echoed in Maya's mind rather than her ears. Today, the teacher said, we will discuss the nature of power itself. The lesson was complex and confusing. The teacher spoke of things Maya had never heard of, forces that shaped the universe on levels that human science could not even imagine. She understood perhaps 1 word in 10, but she listened carefully, trying to absorb as much as possible. After the class ended, she was walking toward her next lesson when someone blocked her path. There were 3 of them. The leader was a tall female with blue skin and hair that floated around her head like she was underwater. Her eyes were pure white, and her smile was cold and cruel. So, the blue-skinned girl said, this is the human everyone is talking about. The miracle girl who received a blessing she did not deserve. Maya stood her ground. I did not ask for this blessing, she said. But it is mine now. The blue-skinned girl laughed. It was not a pleasant sound. My name is Princess Lyra of the Aquilan Empire. My family has ruled 1,000 worlds for 10,000 years. We have earned our power through blood and sacrifice. And you, a creature from a primitive planet, think you can stand among us. She leaned closer, her white eyes boring into Maya's. You are nothing, she whispered. You are a mistake. And before this year is over, I will prove it to everyone. She turned and walked away, her 2 companions following. Maya watched them go, her hands clenched into fists at her sides. This was going to be harder than she had thought. The weeks that followed were the most difficult of Maya's life. Every class pushed her to her limits and beyond. Every teacher demanded more than she thought she could give. And everywhere she went, Princess Lyra and her followers were there, watching, waiting, looking for any sign of weakness. But Maya did not give up. She studied when other students slept. She practiced her powers until her body ached with exhaustion. She learned the names and abilities of every student in her class, identifying potential allies and threats. She was not just going to survive this academy, she was going to thrive. Her powers grew stronger with each passing day. She learned to move objects with her mind, not just small things but massive stones and metal beams. She learned to heal wounds, not just cuts and bruises but broken bones and damaged organs. She learned to sense the emotions of others, to feel their fear and anger and joy as clearly as if they were her own. But it was her speed and strength that surprised everyone the most. During a physical training exercise in her 6th week, Maya was paired against a student named Crag, a massive creature covered in rocky plates, who had been training since birth. Crag was 3 times her size, and had been winning fights against other students for years. Everyone expected Maya to lose quickly. Instead, Maya moved like lightning. Before Crag could even raise his fists, she was behind him. Before he could turn, she had struck him in 3 places that left his rocky armor cracking. Before he could recover, she had swept his legs out from under him and sent him crashing to the ground. The training hall fell silent. Maya stood over Crag, breathing hard, her skin glowing brightly. She offered him her hand. Crag looked at her for a long moment, then took it. She helped him to his feet. "Good fight," Crag rumbled. His voice was like rocks grinding together. "You are stronger than you look," Maya smiled. "So are you," she replied. From that day on, Crag became one of her first allies at the academy. But making friends also meant making enemies. Princess Lyra watched Maya's rise with growing anger. She gathered her followers and began planning something terrible. Maya discovered the plot by accident. She was walking through one of the less used corridors late one night when she heard voices coming from an empty classroom. She recognized Princess Lyra's cold tone immediately. "The human grows too strong," Lyra was saying. "If we do not act soon, she will become a threat to all of us." "What do you suggest?" another voice asked. "We cannot simply kill her. The headmistress would know." Lyra laughed. "There are ways to destroy someone without killing them. The trials of Shadow are coming. If we can ensure that she enters the trials unprepared, the shadows themselves will tear her apart. Her death will look like an accident." Another student who was not ready for the challenge. Maya pressed herself against the wall, her heart pounding. She had heard of the trials of Shadow. They were a legendary test that only the most advanced students attempted. A journey into a dimension of pure darkness where nightmares became real. Many students had entered the trials. Not all of them had returned. "We will need to destroy her preparation materials," another voice said. "Sabotage her training. Make sure she has no allies when she enters." "Leave that to me," Lyra replied. "By the time the trials begin, the miracle girl will be completely alone." Maya slipped away before they could discover her. She returned to her room, her mind racing. She had less than a month before the trials of Shadow, less than a month to prepare for a test that killed experienced students regularly, and now she had to do it while Lyra tried to sabotage her every step of the way. The next morning, Maya went to find Crag. She found him in the eating hall, consuming what looked like actual rocks for breakfast. "I need your help," she said, sitting down across from him. Crag looked at her with his small, deep-set eyes. "What kind of help?" Maya told him about what she had heard. She told him about Lyra's plan, about the trials of Shadow, about everything. When she finished, Crag was silent for a long moment. "The trials of Shadow are not meant for first-year students," he finally said. "Even seniors hesitate to enter." "Why would you want to face them?" "Because if I run away," Maya replied, "Lyra will never stop coming for me. She will see me as weak. She will see me as prey. The only way to stop her is to prove that I am stronger than anything she can throw at me." Crag nodded slowly. "You are brave," he said. "Perhaps too brave, but I respect that. I will help you." He stood, his massive form casting a shadow over the entire table. "And I know others who will help too. Lyra has made many enemies. Perhaps it is time for those enemies to work together." In the weeks that followed, Maya gathered a small group of allies. There was Crag, of course, loyal and strong. There was a being named Whisper, a creature made of living smoke who could pass through walls and hear secrets from miles away. There was a young genius named Dr. Vex, a member of a species that existed in multiple dimensions at once, who understood the science of the shadows better than anyone else at the academy. And there was Arya, a human girl like Maya. Maya met Arya in the library, a vast space filled with knowledge from a million worlds. Arya was reading a book about defensive magic, her brow furrowed in concentration. When she looked up and saw Maya, her eyes widened. You are the miracle girl, Arya said. Everyone talks about you. Maya sat down beside her. I am just Maya, she said. Nothing special. Arya laughed. Nothing special. You received a goddess's blessing and survived. You defeated Crag in combat. You have Princess Lyra so scared that she is plotting against you. That is very special. Maya looked at her curiously. How do you know about Lyra's plots? Arya's expression darkened. Because I was her target before you arrived. My family was a member of Earth's Galactic Ambassador Program. We were chosen to represent humanity to the wider galaxy. Lyra and her followers saw us as inferior. They made my life miserable for 3 years. Maya felt a surge of anger on Arya's behalf. That is not right. No, Arya agreed. But it is the way things are at Nexus Prime. The strong prey on the weak. The powerful crush the powerless, unless someone stands up to them. She looked at Maya with fierce determination in her eyes. I want to help you, she said. Not just for myself, but for every student who has suffered under Lyra's cruelty. You are the first person who has ever had a real chance of defeating her. Let me be part of that. Maya took Arya's hand. Together, she said. We will do this together. The preparation for the trials of Shadow was intense. Dr. Vex taught Maya the nature of the Shadow dimension, explaining how it worked and how to navigate its endless darkness. Whisper gathered intelligence on what creatures and challenges Maya might face inside. Crag helped her train her body to its absolute limits. And Arya shared everything she knew about Lyra's tactics and weaknesses. But Lyra did not sit idle. She sabotaged Maya's training equipment. She spread rumors that turned potential allies into enemies. She even tried to have Maya expelled by planting forbidden items in her room. Only the quick thinking of Whisper, who removed the items before the authorities arrived, saved Maya from that fate. The night before the trials, Maya stood on a balcony overlooking the endless expanse of Nexus Prime. The stars stretched out before her. Countless points of light in the infinite darkness. She thought about how far she had come since that night in the temple when everything had changed. A voice spoke from behind her. Having second thoughts, Maya turned. Headmistress Vera stood there, her golden eyes reflecting the starlight. She looked different than she had on Maya's first day. Less formal, more like a mentor than an administrator. No, Maya replied. I know what I have to do. Headmistress Vera joined her at the railing. The trials of Shadow are not just a test of power, she said. They are a test of character. The shadows will show you your deepest fears, your darkest secrets, everything you try to hide from yourself. Many students fail not because they lack strength, but because they cannot face who they truly are. Maya nodded. I understand. Do you? Headmistress Vera looked at her intently. You received a goddess's power, but you are still human. The shadows will exploit that. They will try to convince you that you do not belong here, that you are not worthy of your blessing, that you should give up and go home. Maya smiled. They can try, but I am not the same scared girl who left her village 3 months ago. I have faced Princess Lyra and her followers. I have trained until I collapsed from exhaustion. I have made allies I never expected. I am ready. Headmistress Vera smiled back. Perhaps you are. She placed a hand on Maya's shoulder, that same warm touch that Maya remembered from their first meeting. But remember this. The shadow dimension responds to belief. If you believe you can win, you have a chance. If you doubt yourself for even a moment, the shadows will consume you. I will not doubt, Maya promised. Good, Headmistress Vera said. She turned to leave, then paused. One more thing. Whatever Lyra has planned for the trials, it will be worse than you expect. She has been preparing for this much longer than you have. Be ready for anything. Maya watched her go. Then she turned back to the stars and took a deep breath. Tomorrow, everything would change. Tomorrow, she would face the darkness and either emerge victorious or be lost forever. She was not afraid. She was ready. The next morning, Maya stood before the Gate of Shadows. It was a massive archway made of pure darkness, a doorway into a dimension that existed outside normal reality. Dozens of students had gathered to watch, including Lyra and her followers. Crag, Arya, Whisper, and Dr. Vex stood near the front, their faces filled with worry and hope. Headmistress Vera stood beside the gate, her voice carrying across the crowd without effort. Maya Chen has chosen to face the trials of Shadow, she announced. By ancient tradition, she will enter alone. She will face her fears alone. She will triumph or fall alone. There will be no interference from anyone. She looked directly at Lyra as she said the last sentence. Lyra's face remained perfectly calm. But Maya saw something flicker in her white eyes. Something that looked like anticipation. Maya stepped forward. The darkness of the gate seemed to reach out toward her, hungry and cold. She could feel it pressing against her mind, whispering things she could not quite understand. She turned to look at her friends one last time. Crag nodded solemnly. Arya gave her a thumbs up. Whisper swirled encouragingly. Doctor. Vex made a complex gesture that meant something like good luck in multiple dimensions at once. Maya faced the gate. She took a deep breath, and she stepped through. The darkness swallowed her whole. For a moment, there was nothing. No light, no sound, no sensation at all. Maya floated in an endless void, completely alone. Then the shadows began to speak. You do not belong here, they whispered. You are weak. You are worthless. You are a mistake. Maya pushed back against the voices. I belong, she said firmly. I have earned my place. The darkness laughed. Earned. You received a gift you did not deserve. You stole power that was meant for a goddess. You are a thief and a fraud. Images formed in the darkness around her. She saw herself as a child, crying because the other children made fun of her. She saw herself failing at tasks, making mistakes, disappointing her mother. She saw every moment of weakness, every moment of doubt, every moment of fear. This is who you really are, the shadow said. This is what you try to hide. You are not a hero. You are not special. You are just a scared little girl pretending to be something she is not. Maya felt the weight of the darkness pressing down on her. Part of her wanted to give up, to admit that the shadows were right, to just let go and fall into the void forever. But another part of her remembered something Headmistress Vera had said. The shadow dimension responds to belief. Maya closed her eyes. She thought about her mother, who had always believed in her, even when no one else did. She thought about her friends at the academy, who had risked everything to help her prepare. She thought about the goddess Lumina, who had seen something in her worth giving a piece of her own power. You are wrong, Maya said. Her voice was calm and steady. I am not pretending to be something I am not. I am becoming something new. She opened her eyes. Light began to flow from her skin, pushing back the darkness. Her glow grew brighter and brighter until it illuminated the entire void around her. I am Maya Chen, she declared. I am human, and something more. I am frightened and brave. I am weak and strong. I am everything you say I am, and I am more than you can imagine. The shadows screamed and retreated. The void around her began to change, forming into a landscape of dark hills and twisted trees. Maya stood on solid ground, her light creating a sphere of safety around her. The first trial had begun. Maya walked through the shadow landscape, her light guiding the way. The twisted trees seemed to reach toward her with grasping branches. Strange creatures lurked at the edges of her vision, watching her with hungry eyes but not daring to approach her glow. She walked for what felt like hours. Time moved differently in the shadow dimension. Minutes could feel like days. Hours could pass in seconds. She had no way of knowing how long she had really been inside. The first real challenge came without warning. One moment, she was walking along a dark path. The next moment, she was standing in the village square of Millbrook. The sun was shining. The smell of fresh bread filled the air, and her mother was standing in front of her, arms open wide. Maya, her mother said, her voice filled with love. You came home. I knew you would come home. Maya froze. She knew this was an illusion, a trick of the shadows. But her heart ached with longing. She missed her mother so much. She missed the simple life she had left behind. She missed being normal, her mother's arms wrapped around her. The hug felt real. It felt like home. Stay with me, her mother whispered. Stay here where it is safe. You do not need to fight anymore. You do not need to prove anything. Just stay. Maya felt tears running down her face. Part of her wanted nothing more than to stay in this illusion forever. To forget about Nexus Prime and the trials and everything else. To just be a village girl again. But she knew it was not real. She knew that if she stayed, she would be lost in the shadows forever. She knew that her real mother was counting on her to be strong. I love you, Maya whispered to the illusion. But I have to go. She pushed away from the embrace. The illusion shattered like glass, revealing the dark landscape once more. The shadow creatures howled with frustration. But Maya kept walking. The second challenge was more direct. A creature emerged from the darkness ahead. It was massive, easily twice the size of Crag, with black scales and burning red eyes. It looked like something from a nightmare, all claws and teeth and rage. You dare enter my domain? The creature roared. You dare bring your light into my darkness? Maya stood her ground. She could feel fear trying to creep into her heart, but she pushed it away. I am here to complete the trials, she said. Get out of my way. The creature laughed. It was a terrible sound, like bones breaking. The last 100 students who faced me said the same thing. I ate them all. Maya raised her hands. Light gathered between her palms, growing brighter and brighter. Maybe you should have eaten something smaller, she replied. The creature charged. Maya released her light. The battle was brutal and fast. The creature was strong, but Maya was faster. She dodged its claws and struck back with beams of light that burned through its scales. It snapped at her with its massive jaws. But she flew out of reach and brought her fist down on its head with all her strength. The creature fell and did not get up. Maya landed beside it, breathing hard. The fight had taken more out of her than she expected. Her light was dimmer than before, and she could feel exhaustion pulling at her bones, but she could not stop. She had to keep moving. The landscape changed as she walked. The twisted trees gave way to ruins of ancient buildings. The darkness grew thicker, pressing against her light like a physical force. Strange whispers filled the air, voices speaking in languages she did not understand. Then she saw it. A throne made of shadows stood in the center of a vast chamber, and sitting on the throne was someone she recognized. Princess Lyra smiled down at her. Well, she said, her voice echoing through the chamber. You made it further than I expected. I am almost impressed. Maya stared at her. How are you here? Only one person can enter the trials at a time. Lyra laughed and stood. She descended from the throne, her feet not quite touching the ground. The rules do not apply to me, she said. My family has been making deals with the shadow dimension for generations. I can come and go as I please. She stopped a few feet from Maya, her white eyes gleaming with malice. I told you I would destroy you. Did you think I would leave that to chance? Maya's hands clenched into fists. Her light flared brighter. This is cheating. Is it? Lyra tilted her head. Or is it simply being prepared? You see, Maya, the galaxy does not care about fairness. It does not care about rules. Power is what matters, and I have so much more of it than you. She raised a hand, and shadows surged toward Maya like a wave. Maya threw up a barrier of light, but the shadows crashed against it with incredible force. She felt herself being pushed backward, her feet sliding across the ground. You cannot win, Lyra said calmly. You are one girl with a stolen blessing. I am the heir to an empire. I have trained for this my entire life. I have made alliances with forces older than your entire species. The shadows pressed harder. Maya's barrier began to crack. Give up, Lyra continued. Accept your fate. Maybe I will be merciful. Maybe I will let you live as a servant in my household. A pet for the miracle girl who thought she could challenge a princess. Maya felt her strength failing. Her light was growing dim. The shadows were overwhelming her, smothering her, dragging her down into darkness. And then she heard a voice. Not a shadow voice. Not Lyra's voice. A voice she had not heard since that night in the temple. Child, the voice said, warm and ancient and powerful. You are not alone. Light exploded from within Maya. Not just her own light, but something else, something greater, the power that the goddess Lumina had given her, the piece of divine essence that had been sleeping inside her, suddenly awakened fully for the first time. Maya screamed as the power poured through her. It was too much, too overwhelming, too vast for any human to contain. She felt like she was being burned from the inside out, like her very soul was being remade. But she did not break. She did not shatter. She held on with everything she had, forcing the power to obey her will. Lyra stumbled backward, her face showing fear for the first time. What is this? She gasped. This is impossible. Maya rose into the air. Her body blazed with light so bright that the shadows themselves began to burn. Her eyes glowed like tiny suns. Her voice echoed with power that shook the foundations of the shadow dimension itself. You wanted to know what I am, Maya said. Her voice was not just her own anymore. It was layered with something else, something divine. I am the bridge between mortal and immortal. I am the daughter of light in a realm of darkness. I am the miracle girl. She raised her hands, and light poured from her in a torrent. The shadow chamber dissolved. Lyra's carefully constructed defenses shattered like fragile glass. The ancient alliances with the shadow dimension broke apart under the weight of Maya's awakened power. Lyra tried to run, but there was nowhere to go. The light caught her and held her in place. Please, Lyra gasped, her arrogance finally breaking. Please, spare me. Maya floated down until she was face to face with the princess. The power still raged within her, demanding to be used, demanding destruction. It would be so easy to annihilate Lyra completely, so easy to end the threat forever. But Maya remembered who she was. She remembered her mother, who had taught her mercy. She remembered Arya, who had suffered under Lyra's cruelty, but still chose to help others. She remembered everything that made her human. The power calmed. The light dimmed to a warm glow. Maya took a deep breath and stepped back. I could destroy you, she said quietly. I have the power. After everything you have done, maybe you deserve it. Lyra just stared at her, too afraid to speak. But I am not going to, Maya continued. Not because you deserve mercy, but because I refuse to become what you are. I refuse to be a person who hurts others because she can. She turned away from Lyra and faced the darkness that still surrounded them. The way forward was clear now. A path of light cutting through the shadows. At the end of the path, she could see a doorway. The exit from the trials. Go home, Maya said over her shoulder. Leave Nexus Prime. Never come back. If I ever see you again, if you ever threaten me or my friends again, I will not be merciful a second time. She walked toward the exit without looking back. The doorway grew larger as she approached. Beyond it, she could see the crowd that had gathered to watch the trials. She could see her friends waiting anxiously. She could see Headmistress Vera standing apart from the others, her golden eyes fixed on the gate. Maya stepped through. The cheering was deafening. Students who had never spoken to her before rushed forward to congratulate her. Crag lifted her onto his massive shoulders, shouting something she could not hear over the noise. Arya was crying and laughing at the same time. Whispers swirled around her in excited patterns. Dr. Vex existed very enthusiastically in at least 7 dimensions simultaneously, but Maya only had eyes for one person. Headmistress Vera walked through the crowd, which parted before her like water. She stopped in front of Crag and looked up at Maya. You passed the trials, Headmistress Vera said. Her voice cut through the noise, somehow perfectly clear. But more than that, you awakened your full power. In all my 800 years, I have never seen anything like it. Maya slid down from Crag's shoulders to stand before the headmistress. I had help, she said. The goddess spoke to me. She helped me at the end. Headmistress Vera nodded. Yes, I sensed her presence. She has been watching over you since the blessing, waiting for the right moment to fully awaken what she placed inside you. She was waiting to see if you were worthy. And am I? Maya asked. Headmistress Vera smiled. That warm, genuine smile that had made Maya feel welcome on her very first day. You are more than worthy, she said. You are exactly what this galaxy needs. In the days that followed, everything changed. Princess Lyra disappeared from the academy, presumably returning to her family's empire in disgrace. Her followers scattered, suddenly finding that their protection was gone and their enemies were many. Maya became something of a legend among the students. The miracle girl who had faced the trials of shadow as a first year and emerged victorious. The human who had awakened divine power, the one who had shown mercy to her enemy when she had every right to destroy her. Some students feared her. Others admired her. Many wanted to be her friend. Maya treated them all the same way, with kindness and respect, the same way her mother had taught her to treat everyone. Her training intensified. Now that her full power had awakened, she needed to learn to control it properly. Headmistress Vera herself took over some of her lessons, teaching Maya secrets that only the most advanced beings in the galaxy knew. You are no longer just human, Headmistress Vera explained during one lesson. You are a hybrid, a new type of being. Part mortal, part divine. There has never been anything quite like you before. Maya looked at her hands, which still glowed faintly with inner light. Is that a good thing? It is neither good nor bad, Headmistress Vera replied. It is simply what you are. What matters is what you choose to do with it. Maya thought about that a lot as the months passed. She thought about her village, about her mother, about the simple life she had left behind. She thought about the vast galaxy she had discovered, with its millions of species, and its endless wonders, and its terrible dangers. She thought about the power inside her and all the things she could do with it. At the end of her first year, she received a message. It was from her mother, transmitted through the protection field that the Galactic Council had placed around Earth. The message was simple. Just a few words and a video of her mother's face. I am so proud of you, her mother said, tears in her eyes. I always knew you were meant for something greater. Be brave, Be kind, be yourself, and know that I love you, no matter what. Maya watched the message 100 times. Each time, she felt the same mix of love and longing and determination. She was not just fighting for herself anymore. She was fighting for her mother. She was fighting for Arya and all the humans who had been treated as inferior. She was fighting for everyone who had ever been told they were not good enough, that they did not belong, that they could never amount to anything. The galaxy was vast and dangerous and full of beings more powerful than she could imagine. But Maya Chen, the miracle girl from a small village on a primitive planet, was not afraid. She was ready for whatever came next. On the last day of the school year, Maya stood on the same balcony where she had talked with Headmistress Vera before the trials. The stars stretched out before her, beautiful and infinite. Arya joined her, standing silently at her side. "What are you thinking about?" Arya asked. Maya smiled. "I was thinking about how scared I was when I first came here. I thought I would never fit in. I thought I would fail. I thought I was just a village girl who got lucky. And now," Arya prompted. Maya's smile widened. "Now I know that I am more than that. Not because of my power. Because of everything I have learned, everything I have experienced, everyone I have met. I have grown more in this 1 year than in my entire life before." Arya nodded. "So have I," she said. "Before you came, I had given up. I had accepted that I would never be anything special at this academy, but watching you fight, watching you refuse to give up no matter what, it reminded me of something important." "What?" Maya asked. "That being human is not a weakness," Arya replied. "It is a strength. We are adaptable. We are resilient. We never stop trying, no matter how bad things get. That is something that even the most powerful beings in the galaxy cannot match." Maya reached out and took Arya's hand. "Together," she said, "we will show them what humans can do." Behind them, the door to the balcony opened. Crag, Whisper, and Dr. Vex came out to join them. "There you are," Crag rumbled. "We have been looking everywhere. There is a celebration happening in the main hall, and the miracle girl is supposed to give a speech." Maya groaned. "A speech? No one told me about a speech." Whisper swirled around her apologetically. "I may have told them you would do it," Whisper admitted in a voice like wind through leaves. Dr. Vex nodded in 3 dimensions simultaneously. "It would be good for morale," they observed. "Many students look up to you now. Your words could inspire them." Maya looked at her friends. These strange, wonderful beings who had become her family. She thought about all the students inside, from 1,000 different species, waiting to hear what she had to say. She took a deep breath. "All right," she said. "Let us go make a speech." The main hall was packed with students of every description. They cheered when Maya entered, a sound so loud it seemed to shake the walls. She walked to the front of the room, her friends close behind her, and stood before the crowd. The cheering gradually died down. Hundreds of eyes, some human, some very much not, fixed on her expectantly. Maya had not prepared anything. She had no idea what to say. But she remembered what Headmistress Vera had told her on her first day. She remembered what her mother had said in her message. She remembered everything she had learned and experienced in this incredible, terrifying, wonderful year. And she spoke from the heart. "1 year ago," she began, "I was a girl from a small village on a planet most of you have never heard of. I received a blessing that was supposed to kill me. I was brought to this academy against my will. I was alone, afraid, and completely out of my depth." The crowd was silent, listening. "Many of you expected me to fail," Maya continued. "Some of you wanted me to fail. I was human, after all. A primitive creature from a backwater world. What could I possibly offer to an academy filled with beings of incredible power?" She paused, letting her gaze sweep across the room. "But I am still here," she said, her voice growing stronger. "I faced my fears in the trials of shadow. I stood against those who tried to destroy me. I learned that power does not come only from blessings or birthright. True power comes from within. It comes from the choices we make, the allies we gather, the refusal to give up even when everything seems hopeless." She pointed to Crag, standing in the crowd. "I learned about strength from someone who was supposed to be my enemy." She pointed to Arya. "I learned about courage from someone who had every reason to give up." She gestured to Whisper and Dr. Vex. "I learned that the strangest friends can become the closest family." Her hand dropped. Her eyes found Headmistress Vera, standing at the back of the hall. "This academy is supposed to be the most dangerous place in the galaxy. Maya said. And maybe it is. But it is also a place where miracles happen, where beings from every corner of the universe come together to learn and grow, where the impossible becomes possible. She smiled, and her skin began to glow with warm, golden light. I do not know what the future holds, she admitted. I do not know what challenges we will face or what enemies we will encounter. But I know one thing for certain. She raised her voice so it filled every corner of the hall. As long as we stand together, there is nothing we cannot overcome. We are the students of Nexus Prime. We are the future of this galaxy. And no matter where we come from or what we look like or what powers we possess, we are stronger together than we could ever be alone. The crowd erupted in cheering. Students stamped their feet, clapped their hands, made sounds of approval in ways unique to their species. The noise was overwhelming, joyful, united. Maya looked at her friends, at Headmistress Vera, at the hundreds of students who had become her community. The blessing had gone wrong, but it had sent her exactly where she needed to be. And this was only the beginning.